a GREENPOINT Williamsburg Public Affairs presentation. This is Neighborhoods Today.
Our first segment features a grassroots dance ensemble, better known as the Polish-American Folk Dance Company. Though technically not professional, there's nothing amateurish about the way they do things. For over 50 years, they've managed to preserve and perpetuate their folklore through song and dance. They have shared their heritage and culture with Poles and non-Poles alike. And in the process, they've endeared themselves not only to the community, but to all who've seen them.
You'd think that in today's trendy world of overnight fashion and disposable culture, keeping a several hundred-year-old folk heritage alive wouldn't be easy. But for the Polish-American Folk Dance Company of Greenpoint, Brooklyn, it isn't difficult at all. As a matter of fact, they've been doing it for the past 50 years. And as you can see behind me, they're still doing it, and with great success. Now, I spoke to the company's director, Stanley PELC, to get a little bit more information about the company and a little bit information as to how the company has managed to become such a force in the community. Stanley, let's begin with a brief historical overview. Can you tell me who's credited with the company's creation and what the impetus was for its inception?
The company was created in 1938, and it was created by Frances Wesołowska. Her married name is Popławska. And it happened that in 1938, there was political turmoil starting in Europe. Poland was threatened, and there was a tremendous wave of patriotism here in the United States, and Frances's way of combating it was to try to create schools where she could teach Polish dance and song to children of American backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And it's been a success. Here we are 50 years later.
Well, I'll say so. I'm kind of curious about your involvement with the company, which spans over a 20-year period, and I'm sure our viewers...
36, but who's counting?
Oh, excuse me, 36, that's right, but who's counting? And I'm sure our viewers are curious about your background and how you became involved with the company. Can you talk a little bit to us about that?
I joined the company with my sister, like I said, 36 years ago, and simply because it was next door. That's basically how it started. Plus, I needed some medical attention on my legs. I had very bad ankles when I was a small child, and that's what the doctor recommended, some kind of physical exercise. Mm-hmm. And this was next door. Mm-hmm. And here we go, 36 years later, my ankles are still terrible. But I'm still here. And so is my sister.
Now, how did you go from being a member of the company to becoming the company's director?
In 1968, when Frances decided to retire from active teaching, the group had dwindled down to just a handful of people. I think in the early 60s, and I became very involved in the administrative end of the group, managing it, try to raise funds. Since we were a not-for-profit organization even way back then, it just was a natural progression. I think I just became very strong, very powerful in there, and I liked the dancing, and I always had input into the choreography end of it towards Frances' last few years. Mm-hmm. And one thing led to another. December 68, she said thank you and goodbye, and we just took it from there. And we did a whole turnover, transformation on the company.
Mm-hmm. As the company's director, what kind of path did you envision leading your flock down, so to speak?
The one thing we definitely wanted to do was we knew we had to create a new goal. The company could no longer exist on its old goals, which was just to teach simple dances to children. Mm-hmm. We now knew in the late 60s, that was when everybody was going back to their ethnic backgrounds, ethnic researching. And we decided at that time that we were going to delve into research back in Poland, into costumes as well as more material for dance presentations. Mm-hmm. And we went to Europe, we did a lot of research, came back, and we started creating a company, a performing ensemble with training levels that would naturally feed young people into the company.
Mm-hmm. If someone were to walk through your rehearsal space, I really don't think they would be able to help notice the incredible amount of plaques and awards on your walls here. Can you tell us a little bit about what these awards mean and the kind of honors the company has received, as well as yourself?
We've been very fortunate, especially on our trips to Europe. We've received all sorts of acknowledgments and diplomas for choreography, for our efforts here in the United States, presenting Polish culture to the American public. We even have a certificate from a sister dance company in Hungary, officially claiming us as sister companies, and that is a friendship that has lasted now almost 12 years. In 1979, we received the Oscar Kohlberg Award. That is awarded by the Polish government to ensembles outside of Poland for their research in Polish ethnography and their follow-through in presentation of it. And in 1980 is when I was awarded the Merit of Culture by the Polish government as well. And in fact, I even have it here for you to look at. That was a real surprise when that one came through.
It's lovely.
That was presented at the consulate here in New York City.
Stanley, you've managed to somehow take this company and mold it into the type of organization which has been applauded for sharing its culture with young American Poles, and not only that, with non-Poles as well. And I'm wondering how, at the same time, you've managed to keep the company on a local level and continue to get young people involved, especially young people from the community.
We're a very visible organization. That's been a very positive image for us. We've always done more than dance. We teach handcrafts, we do exhibits, we do non-Polish type performances. We've done expositions of the Merry Widow, cotillion balls, a big Hawaiian suite. It's little things like this that have just added into the company's aura, if you will, and that's what draws the people. There are so many young people out there who want to be involved in something, and they are of Polish background, but they just don't want to lock themselves into a limited organization, and we do offer a tremendous range of activities for the people.
For the average person, the urge to dance may be present, but hidden, and it takes a special kind of teacher to bring that strength out. That task falls to Danny Giadura, the company's assistant choreographer.
When a new member wants to join the dance company, the first thing I like to do is to bring them into the rehearsal studio and just get them comfortable with moving. A lot of people are very shy about doing any kind of body movement, anything. If they need to extend themselves in any way, they get very nervous. So the first thing I try to do is to get them comfortable moving in front of me, because everyone's always a little bit shy about moving in front of someone. So I like to get them comfortable moving with me and with the other people in the room. And once they get comfortable moving, then it's just a matter of getting them acquainted with the steps, teaching them what's the right way of moving your arm and what's the right thing to do with your foot. I first started dancing when I was in the 3rd grade. I went to a Saturday Polish school where we learned the language and the culture and the history, and part of that was dancing. I remember when I was a little kid, I was standing watching the other children performing because I wasn't dancing at the time, and I said to myself, gee, that's something I really want to do. And so that's when I started. I started back in the 3rd grade. When I graduated from the 8th grade, I came right to the dance group here because the director of our dance group, Stanley PELC, was the teacher at that time of the school that I was going to. So when I graduated there, I came right here. A lot of my training began as soon as I came here, just from the other people in the group, sort of informal training. My real training began when I went to Poland in 1983. I went to a course in Lublin, Poland, for instructors of Polish folk dance. And there I learned about the music, about the dances, the orchestra, all aspects of Polish folk dancing. I started using it a little bit at a time. When I came back after my 2nd year in Poland, I started teaching the classes for the new members who would come in. And it was in January of '88 that I was made assistant choreographer. And so I had a bigger say of what kinds of dances we do, what we include in the dances, the different forms that we do. If someone wanted to join the dance company and they were just a little bit unsure about how well they would do, the first thing I would say to them is to just relax, because a lot of the mistakes happen when you get tense, when you get nervous. And of course, as soon as you get nervous, your body get stiff. First thing I would say, I know it's difficult to do sometimes, but just relax and know that you can do it. A lot of people come here and they just don't know. They're so unsure of themselves because they see the other people who've been doing it for 10 and 15 years and they do it so easily. And the first thing out of everyone's mouth is, wow, I can't do that. You know, look at them and look at me. So I just tell them to relax and know that you can do it. Have faith in yourself.
And of course, a dance company would be nothing without its dancers. And in this company, none of the dancers are professional or get paid. They're either full-time students or a part of the working world. So what, you might ask, does the company offer them that they can't find anywhere else? What is it about the dance company that keeps bringing you back?
I've never left, so it doesn't bring me back, but I guess it's a cultural addiction. It's something I've been doing ever since I was a little older than Richie. Probably from my godmother's wedding when I was 4, when I started dancing. It never left my blood, so I kept on doing it. Plus, I try to keep in shape.
For me, it's a link to my Polish heritage. I'm an American of Polish descent, existing in a very cosmopolitan atmosphere in New York. But I never want to lose sight of the fact that I'm of Polish descent, which is very close to my heart. But it's easy to lose that in New York because Poles are a minority group here too, and I'm just as proud of my heritage as someone else is of theirs. I was lucky enough to have my culture and my background passed on to me by my parents and my grandparents. I'd like to have that opportunity to pass that on to my children someday too.
The pride and heritage proudly embodied through the company's repertoire are also evident in the costumes each dancer sports at performances. And almost all their costumes have been sewn and painstakingly assembled by the dancers and their families. Now that might not be so spectacular, except for the fact that the company can boast of over 500 sets of costumes, totaling 3,000 separate pieces. And just as the dance represents a specific region of Poland, so does the costume, each as vividly colorful and diverse as the one before it. Wonderful.
Thank you.
And this, by the way, is Halina Kalitka, the company's musical accompanist. As a matter of fact, she's been playing for and with the company for the past 18 years now. Halina, tell us a little bit about the piece we just heard.
Well, that was the Krakowiak, which is one of our national dances. It's known to all Poles because the minute you see it danced on the stage, everybody's spirits just lift up along with the dancers.
Oh, it sounded great. Also with me is Majka Koncevich, another one of the company's assistant choreographers. And Majka, you've brought a demonstration couple with you. What are we going to be seeing?
Yes, I brought Helene and Larry, and they are going to show us the basic steps and formations in Krakowiak, which Halina talked about it. So Halina, if you please. They are doing basic Krakowiak step, which really represents a galloping horses. Look at those arms. They are nice and straight, stretch up, very, very nice and tall appearance on the upper part of the body. They should be looking at each other because it's like flirting. The boy and the girl should be flirting all the time. And we are doing slides and different steps. However, we also bring some lifts, as you just have seen. Larry's bringing Haline up, tall above his head, and continue sliding. The stretch arm is very tall. And here we go, finished. Thank you.
All successful community groups have one thing in common, bringing people together. And in that respect, the Polish-American Folk Dance Company is doubly successful. It binds the cultures of the older generation and the young, and it asks the men and women of a far-off land to share in the pride of countless generations and join hands with their brothers and sisters right here in the GREENPOINT community. For Neighborhoods Today, I'm REENA Marie, and this is the Krakowiak.
REENA, does the dance company limit itself to where it dances and for whom?
Absolutely not, Dick. As a matter of fact, it seems as if the company has performed just about everywhere, from local dances to aristocratic debutante balls at the Waldorf Astoria and Hotel Pierre. And as for whom they've performed, well, how about Pope John Paul II? They've also performed for Princess Grace of Monaco and even Basha Johnson of the Johnson & Johnson fortune. And they've also performed at Lincoln Center, City Center, the New Jersey Garden State Arts Center, as well as all over the tri-state area, the West Coast, and of course, even Europe. They managed to get around.
To most high school dropouts, the likelihood of ever finishing their education is small. But in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn, one organization is out to reverse that trend. Since 1981, El Puente has been helping Hispanic youth in this neighborhood stay involved in the educational process. Sonia Rodriguez spoke with Ray Perez, one of the center's assistants, about their unique approach.
The Williamsburg section of Brooklyn is known for its drugs and its gangs. And then we have El Puente. Mr. Perez, El Puente means the bridge. What's the significance of the center's name?
Well, we're virtually adjacent to the Williamsburg Bridge. But more than that, we're a bridge for adolescents. We're a bridge to their adulthood, to their development. We wish for them in the future to become economically viable, to contribute in some way, in a significant manner, to the economic fabric of this city, which is becoming very, very sophisticated. It's sophisticated, and these kids need to learn skills. We provide services and programs that will permit them to develop their self-esteem, develop skills, and hopefully go out there and be able to defend themselves economically. More than that, though, we're also a bridge for self-empowerment, which hopefully, if put in the proper context, will lead to a better community. Hopefully, we will develop positively in that fashion. And hopefully, a lot of our kids will, in fact, come back to the neighborhood and give back and hopefully improve the neighborhood.
The center was created in 1981 by its chief executive officer, Luis Galding Acosta. Why? What was the need?
In 1981, you had one of the greatest calamities take place here in the South Side, Los Sudes, particularly of Williamsburg. The New York Times came out with an article on gang activity, which stated that one youth a week on the average was dying due to gang-related activity and violence. Luis Galding Acosta, who is the CEO of El Puente and who was then an administrator at GREENPOINT Hospital, got together with the Reverend Stephen Lynch from Transfiguration Church, who was now a board member at El Puente. And they discovered that there was no type of center for the adolescents. And it was particularly ironic because you have the largest concentration of Latino youths of any section in New York City here. So they decided to get together and develop a plan and develop a program to provide services for these adolescents. And so El Puente was born. It was born as an alternative to the drugs, as an alternative to the violence, as an alternative to joining gangs. It was born because it needed to be born.
Let's talk about the youngsters who come here. What kind of environment do they come from? What does the center give them that the conventional educational system doesn't?
Suffice it to say that this is one of the worst neighborhoods there is in New York City. You're dealing with dire poverty conditions. You're dealing with nothing but drugs available, gang activity, violence. It's just totally disastrous. I think El Puente provides a lot of sensitivity. It provides a lot of services and needs that adolescents truly want, but they don't kind of dare reach for. So what we do is we provide a lot of counseling, we provide a lot of services and programs which will hopefully develop their self-esteem, and usually it does. We're very, very sensitive here. We're very, very committed. We really want to see youngsters succeed. And so when a youngster comes in here with a problem, we want to let them know that they can be loved And that has to begin with self-love, with the understanding of the self. And we provide kind of a bridge for that self-understanding. For example, in our MASH unit, which deals primarily with the body, we have a component called BEST, which is Body, Exercise, and Sports Training. And under that wing, we have aerobics, we have karate, and various other physical activities. In addition to that, we have an alternative high school, and we take at-risk kids. These are kids who generally are not acceptable in the conventional school district, in the school system. And so what we do is try and develop a self-esteem level that's positive, and will permit them to believe in themselves, and eventually they can learn and identify and so on and so forth, and develop skills that will permit them to be economically viable in the society.
What type of program does El Puente offer?
We are a comprehensive center. We offer programs that are medically related, artistically related, educationally related. We have over 31 different activities. In the arts, for example, we have art, we have music, we have dance, beginners, advanced, and intermediate. We have medical services that are completely free. We have an alternative high school which deals primarily with kids that are considered at-risk dropout kids. So we take the kids that other schools wouldn't accept. In addition, we have our kids take part, that is, in every policy-making decision. We have representation even on our board. We have kids sitting on our meetings and give us suggestions. This is a client-centered organization.
How many of the youngsters are successful with the center's programs? Where and what have they moved on to?
Let me give you an example. We have a gentleman by the name of Juan. Juan was a dropout kid, didn't have much of a family. Teachers in the educational system declared him virtually crazy. But he came in here, he wanted to help himself. So what do? We put him in our photography program. And the kid is winning all types of citywide contests.
Yeah.
And consequently now, he's a photographer for the Green Line, which is the local newspaper. We have Maribel, who in fact was the best student at the High School of Performing Arts and has a full scholarship now in New York University. We have Rosemary, who is now a student at Cornell University. We have kids at FIT. We have kids at Hunter. We have 2 kids, I believe, who went on to dance professionally with a major dance group. A lot of our kids are doing very, very well, thank God.
That's great. Mr. Perez, thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition. I'm Dick Mahan for Neighborhoods Today. We hope you'll join us again, and we thank you for watching.